Hello, everybody. Um, Welcome to Chronicles of Melanated Minds, brought to you by Better and Black Minds, Towson University organization. I am your host, Preston. I'm with my two other co-hosts. They will introduce themselves.
My name is Jaye.
I'm Olivia.
I am a senior graduating this fall semester. I am also the podcast director for BBM, Better and Black Minds. As you can see, this is our first episode. Welcome to Chronicles of Melanated Minds. I'm going to have them do their class and a fun fact about them.
Okay, so I'm a junior. Are we doing majors too?
It's up to you,
I'll say my major. I'm an information technology major. And fun fact is I've been growing my locks for almost 3 years.
What about you, Olivia?
Okay, you already know my name is Olivia, but I go by Liv majority of the time. I'm a junior currently. I'm a public health major and I'm pre-med. And my fun fact, I guess I'm the youngest and I'm the only girl out of all my siblings.
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Hey, your fun fact?
Yeah, I didn't say a fun fact. Fun fact, just like Liv, I am the youngest and I am the only boy.
Oh, really?
So I have 6 sisters. It's
6?
a lot of them. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of them.
Not on the same boat. 6 sisters?
Yeah. Anyway, I love them all. Yes, as stated before, this is the first episode of the podcast, so please bear with us. There's going to be a little bit of awkwardness, a little bit of jitters, but we'll figure it out as the semester goes along. Upcoming Bettering Black Mind events, we have Let It Go on September 5th in CLA 5303 at 6:30 p.m. Next Thursday, we will be writing affirmations into balloons and letting it go. It's pretty self-explanatory, but it's definitely a fun event. It's our first event of the semester, so please be there.
Be there or be square.
What she said.
Yes, what she said. All right. Anyway, in the spirit of the first week of classes, matter of fact, actually, welcome back to campus. Welcome back to campus. Hope you all had a productive summer. I know myself did nothing but work, and I know a lot of people my age can relate to that. What about you guys? What y'all get into?
This summer, I mainly worked as well. I took care of the household a lot. Wasn't fun, but I did it. Yeah.
I worked, but I was also outside. I will admit. Yeah. I traveled. I went to work, and then I would travel again, and then come back, and yeah. So
repeat. Anywho, to get started, first topic of the day, we're going to talk about you versus yourself. And when you hear that, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like the version of yourself that you are today versus the version of the self that you want to be in the future, whether it be tomorrow, next week, month, year, decade, whichever it may be. I feel like it's a good topic to bring up first week of classes because a lot of us, like myself, either are graduating or they're just starting college or in the middle of their college journey, and they just kind of want to improve upon themselves in any way, fashion that they can. And obviously, no one here is licensed professionals in any way, shape, or form. We're trying to get there, but we're not there now. So it's just us expressing our ideas and thoughts on these things. And if you guys can relate, more power to you. If you guys can't, then, different strokes for different folks. But we definitely hope you take something from this podcast. That is the goal here. You guys want to add anything about you versus yourself? Thoughts, opinions? Have you guys experienced a you versus yourself moment?
I really think you said it pretty well. It really is just the version of yourself versus you today versus who you want to be in the future. Personally, this week, like with my first week, I definitely had that moment. I felt like I was like struggling all week. Like everything that could go wrong was going wrong. And I kept asking myself, like, what could I have done differently to avoid this? Like, what did I do to like get myself here? And I just had to take a step back and realize that, like, bad things are bound to happen, but like it's a matter of how I take it and how I react to it. That really defines who I am. And that was my you versus yourself moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you, John?
My you versus myself this week has been dealing with the adjustment of schedules because I'm a very scheduled person. And when I don't feel like my schedule is set or that I'm going outside of my set schedule, it tends to freak me out a little bit. But also, a lot of my you versus myself, especially in school, is trying to stay focused on the school part of things, and also my personal life because sometimes my personal life can get
Yeah.
a little much. But you push through it.
And the purpose of us bringing up this you versus yourself topic also correlates very well with the other topic that we're going to bring up. We're just going to kind of, fill this out, bring up both. Um, the struggle of being the first generation, like us, like Gen Z, essentially being the first generation to really care about mental health. And I feel as though the reason why that these two topics correlate so well is because the generation that like raised us, like our moms, our dads, granddads, aunts, uncles, so on and so forth, like they never talked about like personal issues, not really anyway. At least I know myself. My mom, she's actually pretty proactive with her mental health. I know when I was younger, she didn't necessarily talk about it a whole bunch, but as I got older, she began expressing more, going to therapy, so on and so forth. So I'm happy for her about that. And but the reason why I'm bringing that up is because that generation, like whether it be boomers, whoever you were raised by, boomers, millennials, um, that whole age range, they were stoic. Work till you drop. Don't. I know a lot of black people in our community can relate to what happens in the house stays in the house kind of mentality. So like if she was having her, not like me personally, but I just meant like people's parents. Like if your parents were having like symptoms of like mental breakdowns, they wouldn't necessarily know that they were mental breakdowns because they personally believed that they were above mental health, if that makes sense. And I know a lot of us can relate to that. Um, but I'm not gonna take up the floor because I can talk about this all day.
You had anything?
Oh, you go ahead first.
Um, I actually had a question for y'all,
What's up?
but hold on, it gotta come back to me.
I don't mind talking about it a bit.
Mm.
I'd say that, like Preston had said, like the older generation, they're not really used to talking about this stuff. So I find that a lot of times when I bring up like mental health problems that I might have, like anxiety, like if I tell my mom, "Oh, I'm just experiencing some anxiety right now, you just got to give me a minute," she'll tell me, like, no, it's not really real. Like, it's not a serious problem. It's all in your head. And it's like, yeah, it's in my head, but it doesn't make it any less real. Like I'm still going through this. And I feel like constantly having to like defend my mental health to them is another problem that just kind of like adds on to everything
Mm-hmm.
for myself. And I find that like with my dad personally, it's more so like I'm kind of teaching him how to like deal with his emotions and how to go through that. Like he might be upset about something and he might take his anger out in a different way. And I'm like, well, what are you really upset about? Like, what's really bothering you? Like, you can talk about your problems. It's not like always going to be just bottle it up, deal with it later, like take it to the chin, that type of thing. Like, you can take a minute to like understand what you're going through and say that you're not okay in this moment and work through it. So just trying to like teach somebody how to do that because like they've been taught not to is already a problem, especially when I'm trying to work through my own issues, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I agree. I've experienced some of the same similar things with my mom. She's open, like Preston said with his mom. She's opened up more as I got older about her mental health, but she still doesn't really know how to regulate what she's going through.
Yeah.
But I figured out my question. I wanted to know what y'all thought about. Since we're talking about the difference between us and the older generation, how do y'all feel about them tying our mental health to our work ethic? Because they do that a lot.
Ooh. So, growing up, my mom and I used to butt heads a lot about like my work ethic. Because, like, one thing about me, if I don't want to do something, bro, like, I'm probably not going to do it. Like, not obviously not in like a disrespectful way, but like if it's something I really don't want to do, I'm not going to do it. And that includes jobs. Respectfully, I'm quick to leave a job, and not in the way of like, oh, this doesn't serve me anymore, I'm going to leave, but in a way of like, if I have like a visceral reaction to clocking in, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to work. And when I was younger, I used to work at a Wise, and that was like kind of my issue. My mom used to get on me crazy, and I think as I got older, because again, my mom started to understand as I got older, it was just a matter of understanding yourself and the situations you want to be in. You know, like there are people in this world that can't work a 9 to 5. You feel me? But the older generation, that's all they knew. You know, like we're in the generation where people can become streamers, can become content creators. Like there's so many ways to proverbially get rich or whatever, but older generations are so stuck in their ways of like 9 to 5, wake up, work the entire day, come home, go to sleep, wake up, do it again. And like obviously with our generation, um, recognize like, and this is definitely a way deeper topic than just like as far as like the workforce and everything. That's a way deeper topic than this. But us being the generation to kind of see everything for big picture rather than like just focusing in our little bubble, I think that has been difficult for the older generation. And I know you guys see it everywhere on like social media and stuff like, oh, Gen Z, they don't want to work, they're just lazy and all that stuff. Like I think it's less of, maybe it is kind of our mental health attached to it, but I think a lot of it is our self worth. I think this is probably like the generation that probably like cares about themselves the most, not in a selfish way, but in a like, how is this going to benefit myself and everybody else around me kind of way. You know what I mean?
I definitely say like I do think it's more so like caring about yourself because I was also going to say that the older generations they were used to like the 9 to 5 lifestyle and working all day.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that hey, like I'm tired, like this isn't okay. It's not okay for me to like work myself out to exhaustion. Like I shouldn't be burnt out every day after work. So if I decide that maybe one day out the week I want to take a mental health day or if I decide like I've worked every day this week and it's not even just going to work. There's stuff you do at home that taxes on like your
Mm-hmm.
mental as well. Like it's like having to wake up and having to take care of this and socialize with people and going to work and being just going to work and then dropping your keys or something. Like if I decide that that's the last straw for me and I want to sleep for the rest of the day, I should be able to do that after a long week.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't work myself to like death. That's not right. So for them to consider that being lazy, I don't think it's fair, especially with like how the economy is now. Like you see all the work I have to do just to like get a house or something, and you're telling me I'm lazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fair to me.
Yeah, the correlation between rest and laziness is insane.
Yeah.
Like I that's what I was trying to say earlier. We know how to rest,
Yeah.
right? We know how to take the time to recollect ourselves. We know what burnout feels like and looks like. We know those signs. And obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say we as like every single one of us as a collective because I know some of us don't. And we hope to talk about that on this podcast at some point. Um, but yeah, and I think to kind of, because you made a point earlier when you were talking about your father as far as like you having to almost talk him through his own emotions
Yeah.
and stuff. And I think that also is, what's the word? That's almost a very, very nuanced responsibility that I feel like our age group, our age range has. And because of us being the first generation to be adamant about mental health, now we have to teach the generations before us about mental health. And I think that's also a slight added stressor because some of them are so set in their ways that they're not willing to learn. And obviously some of them are, but I just don't, it's not our responsibility to teach the people before us. But at the same time, I feel like it kind of is because growth doesn't stop just because you hit a certain age, you know? Like you never stop learning. We might have kids and they probably teach us things that we probably, and it's just a cycle from then on. I really do hope that like we get better as like humans, period. But I think having to reparent, like not reparent, but like parent our parents, just tiny segue into my personal life, like without getting too deep into it. Um, I was in therapy, I want to say like a month ago, and we discussed the different kinds of parents you need at different stages of your life, and obviously there's a certain parent that you need when you're a toddler, like, infant, so on and so forth, certain parent that you need adolescent, certain parent that you need as an adult, right? I think we are teaching our parents how to be the parents for us as adults, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know? Because I think a lot of parents have an age in their head for you and leave you there. And they don't allow you to grow up outside of that age. So that's why we realize that. Like our generation has the wherewithal to notice that dynamic change. And we are outspoken enough to deal with it. And I think within that dealing with it, we have the reparenting our parents. And that's a lot of work. And I don't think a lot of older generations had to deal with that. And I think that also contributes to our mental health as well, because there's a sense of loneliness that comes with that. Feeling like you're the only one that understands this certain dynamic, and we can't talk to nobody other than like each other, but like we're all dealing with the same thing, if that makes sense. I'm kind of going on a tangent, but y'all understand what I'm saying anyway.
Yeah,
There you go.
You brought up a good point
Mm-hmm.
about rest and how exactly did you say it?
That we know how to rest.
Yes, that we know how to rest. I'm not going to be devil's advocate about it, but I will say that me and my mom's dynamic has somehow made me pick up some of her habits in a way. So that whole mindset of them like working to death is something I'm actually just now as an adult learning not to do. And I think it kind of ties in a little bit with like a people pleasing kind of thing.
I could definitely see that.
But so yeah, I'm glad to be a part of the generation now and have that mindset now to give myself a rest. But I definitely have felt both sides of it in a way, because that's just what I see my mom do. So it was something that I kind of just picked up internally without knowing that I'm doing it. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, that if you do pick up those habits from your parents, it's okay to still be figuring it out a little bit, because I'm still kind of figuring it out as far as giving myself a break. I don't do that often about it.
Hey, definitely. I mean, I think there's in no way, shape, or form is this me like bashing or minimizing the mindset of the older generation, because like they got stuff done. So I definitely think like we got to find that balance. And I think the topic of our us being the first generation to be adamant about mental health, correlates so well with you versus yourself, because there's almost that line that I know I personally deal with, and I can only speak from a personal sense of, I, am I resting or am I being lazy? And it's constantly trying to find that in between, because I know resting is necessary, because if I'm burnt out, I can't be productive. But if I'm resting too much, I can't be productive. Like, it's just
Yeah.
trying to find that place, because a lot of us have those workaholic tendencies from our parents, and we're trying to work through those. But generational curses are hard to break. They really are hard to break. And I think, and this is more me talking to myself and anybody else that kind of resonates with just constantly feeling like you're not doing enough, but also feeling like you're doing too much, like just constantly being in that limbo. Work at your own pace. Like as long as it gets done, that's what matters. Like, just get it done. If it takes you a day, it takes you 2 days, 3 days, just make sure it gets done. And that's something I'm trying to do, just so I don't feel like I'm wasting time. Because I know, like, for me, just like in the man mindset, and that's, whew, the man mindset, if you don't have X, Y, and Z, you're not doing enough. If you don't have this to show for it, you're not doing enough. If, just constantly feeling like you're not doing enough. And that's my me versus myself battle, to be secure enough in myself to be like, yeah, to see how far I have gotten from where I started, I'm definitely doing enough. But to also quiet that voice in my ear that wants me to work myself to the bone. You know what I'm saying?
Have anything to add?
No, not really. Like, I feel like everything's been like said like really well.
Mhm.
It's gotten there.
I agree.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I have nothing to add.
Nothing else to add?
Mm.
Got you. Before we leave you guys, very quick episode. It's the first episode. We're trying to get the feel for the things, but definitely, per your request, if you guys are rocking with the episodes, they will get longer throughout time. But yeah, before we leave you, we do have some campus resources for your mental health. We have the Towson Counseling Center, located like right across the street from the new health center building. Um, their phone number is 410-706-2512. They also have a after hours crisis support. It's the same number as before, 410-704-2512. And the after hour crisis support is obviously self-explanatory. After the counseling center is closed, they still have that line open for any emergencies after hours. Obviously, the suicide crisis hotline, 988. You see something, say something, hear something, say something. Check on your friends, please. And we also have the Towson SOS, the Student Outreach Support Program. It does not get the recognition it truly deserves. I myself am part of it. They have a lot of different resources for academic help. I personally, about a year ago, got diagnosed with ADHD, and they have been immensely helpful with giving me the proper accommodations necessary for academics, whether it be like extra testing time or extra studying time, so on and so forth. So if you need that, use that. It is there. Towson has it. Please take advantage. The number for that is 410-704-4462. Remember, September 5th, 6:30 p.m., CLA 5303. Let it go. Next week, join us for some affirmations.
Be there or be square.
What she said.
And if you don't know what that means, a square means you're not around. We're not done yet. Hold on. We got one more. We got some affirmations to leave y'all with. We didn't talk too in depth, but a lot of these conversations can definitely get heavy, and they will get heavier, especially as the months go on. Um, Couple of affirmations. I'm gonna say one, and then I'm gonna pass it to everybody. I want everybody to get a chance to say one. Um, you belong here, whether it be in college, whether it be on Earth, whether it be your friend group, whether it be anywhere you second guess your whether your presence is wanted, you belong there. You wouldn't be where you are if everything that you did to your life didn't lead you to where you are. You are exactly where you are supposed to be.
The next one, you are not your circumstances. Regardless of what you're going through, like, don't beat yourself up over what you're going through. Like, it's not you. You're more than that, regardless. So just always keep in mind, you're not your circumstances.
Our third affirmation is it's only difficult because it's unfamiliar. Remember that unfamiliarly doesn't mean that it's dangerous. It just might be something that you're not used to and you might just have to adapt. So just keep that in mind when you're going through not just school but life, that it's only difficult because it's unfamiliar.
And another one for all my first generation students, you're not the people who came before you. Like, and then I don't mean that to say like the people like that came before you are bad, but you are living your own life. You are running your own race. You are you. So you aren't the people that came before you, whether, you know, they didn't have the means to succeed, or, you know, just not the best things happened in your family tree. You're not the people who came before you. You are your own person. You are going to pave your own way. You are going to have your own legacy and your own success. Do it for you, no one else. For you. This was Chronicles of Melanated Minds by Veteran Black Minds. Thank you for tuning into the first episode. We look forward to seeing you more. We hope to upload episodes earlier within the week, within that Monday, Tuesday time frame, so you have it before the Thursday event. We hope to see you at Set It Off and Let It Go. You better be there for both.
Or be square.
Be there or be square. All right, y'all.